Hello everybody, I am so excited for today's video. It is in fact July, which means I'm going to go over my numbers for the month of June. I'm going to share exactly how much I made, how much I spent, how much I invested, how much my net worth changed, and I'm going to also go over my budget for the month of July. So just a bit of context for those of you who may be new to my channel. First of all, my name is Alyssa. I am 35 years old and I currently live in Middle Tennessee with my boyfriend Tyler and our dog Zeke. We rent a townhouse. I am a 1099 contractor. I work in marketing and I am debt-free and currently focused on investing as much as I possibly can this year. So I think that's really all you need to know. If I miss anything, you will pick it up from context clues from my expenses and my budget. So let's just jump right in. And if you are only interested in seeing certain parts of the video, I will have timestamps down below so you can find what you're looking for. Let's just jump right in. So here we are in YNAB. This is the software that I use to budget, and I am in the income versus expense tab, and we're looking at June of 2025. Here is what I made for income this month. My biggest source of income was obviously my 1099 contractor work. I made a total of $7,750, and this was a little bit higher this month because I did get paid 5 times in the month of June because there were 5 Mondays, and that's when I get my direct deposit. So that definitely helped boost my income this month. I also cashed out $25 from my health insurance rewards. They have a portal where you can log in and do super easy things like watch videos or download PDFs, and they reward you with points that you can cash out on a Visa prepaid gift card. So I made $25 there. Cashback, I made a total of $57.86, and this was all cashing out from my 2 cashback credit cards. I also made $70.99 of interest from my high yield interest savings accounts. I also made $90 from pet sitting. This was from 2 different instances of checking in on one of my clients' cats while they were out of town a couple of times. This will probably be the last time that I am getting pet sitting income this year, which is a little bittersweet. I made a lot of money last year, over $4,000 pet sitting, because I was doing a lot of overnight pet sitting. I was also living with my parents at the time. I wasn't dating anyone at the time, so I had a lot of extra time and energy to focus on other people's pets. But at the beginning of this year, I decided that I was going to cut back and not do any more overnights, especially because I have my own dog to care for now, and I also just want to prioritize time with my boyfriend. So I did reduce my pet sitting to just checking in on one of my clients who I was still pet sitting for, and they moved this month. And while I will miss the animals that I was checking in on, I am definitely looking forward to being able to focus my time and energy on other things. Moving on to the next source of income, which was selling stuff. I sold a headboard and footboard that I didn't need anymore. I sold that for $35 on Facebook Marketplace. And then I also made 6 cents from YouTube. What happened was I did meet the $100 payout threshold to get my first YouTube paycheck. I will be getting that in July, which thank you guys so much for watching these videos and helping me reach that milestone. This 6 cents was me setting up my checking account for direct deposit so that I can receive those YouTube paychecks. And this was the verification amount that they deposited, and they never pulled it back. So I made 6 cents from YouTube this month. So all in all, my income sources came out to a total of $8,028.91, which is not bad. Moving on to my expenses, we will just go top to bottom here. This first one is my investing category. I invested a total of $3,122 this month. Taxes, I paid a total of $2,750, and this was for my second quarter payment. Like I said, I am a 1099 contractor, so I need to pay quarterly taxes. Next, we will move on to food and drink. This first category, alcohol, I spent a total of $12.07. I normally budget $50 for this, and I usually spend all of it, but I think what happened is my boyfriend ended up picking up other alcohol costs throughout the month because I spent a lot more on dining out and groceries this month, and he and I just go back and forth paying, and at the end of the month, our food and drink expenses kind of even out between the two of us. He uses YNAB as well, so that's why my alcohol was a little bit lower. I just bought some cider from Trader Joe's at the beginning of the month. Dining out, a little bit higher than I usually budget for. I budget $225 a month, so I spent $100 more. This was because it was Father's Day this month and we took both of our dads out to eat, and I did have to borrow some money from my gift category to cover these purchases this month. I also, at the end of the month, did not have any money in this category to pay for this La Siesta purchase. I was a little bummed out. I had just found out that I was not going to be getting a raise that I was anticipating, and this was just a complete emotional purchase, and I just pulled this money from other categories to be able to go out to eat and get a margarita and feel better. And honestly, I do feel better. It's just like, you know, when you build something up in your head and you're expecting something and then it doesn't come to fruition, it's just a little disappointing, but we're over it, and I am so thankful for where I'm at as far as my income, and I am just looking forward to different opportunities in the future to increase my income. And the next category, groceries, I spent $339.58. Again, a little bit over budget. I usually budget for $300, just one of those months. And then supplements, I spent a total of $14.93 on a couple of supplements. I bought some melatonin and D3 after I went to a doctor's appointment. It was just my normal annual exam, but I also was complaining about a lack of sleep, just not being able to stay asleep. So she recommended I try melatonin before we try stronger prescription sleep aids. And then she also recommended that I try increasing my vitamin D. So I spent $14.93 there, and honestly, I am feeling better after implementing those. So I think that was money well spent. So for food and drink, I spent a total of $693.16. We will move on to life variable. So these are categories that are my variable expenses each month. Decor and fixtures, I spent a total of $206.33, and this was just paying for half of a bar and a cabinet that my boyfriend and I purchased to furnish our apartment. We are really slowing down on our furniture and decor purchases. We moved into this townhouse in February of this year, and we really had nothing besides a spare bedroom bed. That was it, really. We didn't have much of anything for furniture. So I think we've done really well getting good deals on Facebook Marketplace and this one consignment shop that we really like to buy from. So I think moving forward, this category will be slowing down quite a bit. Gifts and good vibes, I spent $150, and again, this was for Father's Day. Household, a little bit over budget. I usually budget $50 here and definitely overspent. A lot of this was stocking up at the beginning of the month on a bunch of toiletries, and then I just had to pull money from other categories to cover purchases that we needed later in the month. Next is personal care. I spent $76.95. This was on a haircut and tip, and then I got some leave-in conditioner at the beginning of the month. Seeing and doing, this is my entertainment category. I paid my boyfriend for half of a pork butt that we brought to a family pool party, and then we also walked to a restaurant nearby that has a pool table, so it was $1 there. Next is stuff and things. So this is the category for literally just any physical object that I buy. Most of this was our router that unfortunately got taken out by a storm. We think that a surge came through the coax line, and I currently have a ticket open with the company that we bought the router from. It has a 1-year warranty, but I'm not sure that they'll cover a storm surge. We will see, fingers crossed. But in the meantime, we did buy another router of the same brand and also purchased a surge protector that has a coax line and then another coax cable to be able to plug into that surge protector. And then we also had to replace our garage door opener because I broke it. So spent a total of $448 $38.41 there. And then therapy, pretty self-explanatory. I had one session for $165. So all in all, for life variable expenses, I spent $1,204.38. Zeke the Freak, this is our dog. His name is Zeke. We spent this is my half. I spent $63 on my half of his grooming for a total of $63 spent on him this month. Fixed and recurring, these are my bills that are pretty much the same every month. So rent, my half was $1,044. Electric and water, my half came out to $108.49. Gym, $15 as usual. Health insurance, $62.65 as usual. Phone, I pay my mom because I am on a family plan with my family, so I paid her $38. And then subscriptions, this one was a little bigger this month. My monthly subscriptions are Hulu, Acorns, which is one of my brokerages that I use, and Discovery Plus. Those are my monthly subscriptions, and then I had 2 yearly subscriptions this month as well. One of them is the Stronger by the Day app. It's a fitness app that I use for powerlifting. And then I also paid my mom for renewing our family plan for Microsoft 365, I think it's called. So all in all, I spent a total of $142.72 on subscriptions for a grand total of $1,410.86 spent on my fixed and recurring bills. Car expenses, I spent $15 on gas. This was a category that what I did was I usually budget $45 so that I can buy a tank of gas every month. I don't drive too much and things are pretty close by, so we don't have to drive too far when we do. But when I wanted to go out to eat to drown my sorrows of not getting my raise and I didn't have any money left in my dining out category, I did raid my gas category and gave myself just $15 to get me through the rest of the month, and then I will fill up in the month of July. So a total of $15 spent on my car this month. And then this administrative section is for random inflows. This first one is reimbursements. This is just what I use when I'm splitting costs with my boyfriend for rent and utilities. So that's all that activity there that gets zeroed out. Statement credits, I had an inflow of $6.16, and these are from a couple of credit cards that I got statement credit rewards instead of cash back. I earned a 10% cashback statement credit from Amazon Fresh on my Chase Amazon card, so that was $6 there. And then I have another card that I get 16 cents every month when I pay one of my streaming bills. And I inflow statement credits down here instead of counting them as an inflow in my income because they're technically not income. It's just offsetting what you have to pay on your credit card. So it's like lowering your debt. It's not increasing your income, if that makes sense. So my total expenses, and keep in mind this is including paying my taxes that I had saved for throughout the past couple of months and also investing over $3,000. My total expenses came out to $9,252.24 for a net income of negative $1,223.33. And this doesn't literally mean that my bank account went negative. It just means that I outflowed more than I inflowed this month. And a big part of that was paying my quarterly taxes, which I save for every single paycheck. So I did have this money ready to go. It didn't bring my account negative or anything, but it did contribute to my higher expenses this month. That's it for my income and expenses for the month of June. Let's hop over to my 2025 financial goal tracker. Here we are in my 2025 financial goals spreadsheet. Just a disclaimer, I did not create this spreadsheet. This is Leila's spreadsheet. She's a creator here on YouTube. She sells this spreadsheet in her Etsy shop. I will link that down below for you if you are interested in getting a copy for yourself. Jumping right in, my first goal for this year is to generate $5,000 in extra income. So this is all extra income that I make outside of my 1099 contractor work. In June, I made a total of $278.91 91 cents in extra income. And I just went over all of that in the previous section, but there it is in the notes for you. For extra income this year, I have made a total of $2,518.83, meaning I am just over 50% of the way towards this goal, which is perfect because we are 50% of the way through the year. And what I'm doing with all of my extra income this year is putting it all towards investing. So all of this $2,518 is being put right into my investments. Moving on to my next goal, which is to make $90,000 in gross income, which is not looking as realistic as it once was at the beginning of the year when I set this goal. I had set this goal as a motivation to work towards a raise, and unfortunately, my hard work did not pay off, and I am not going to be probably getting a raise for the rest of this year, which is fine, but it's just gonna not help my progress towards this goal. So in the month of June, I made a total, like I said, $8,028.91. I am only 47% of the way towards this goal. I've made a total of $42,918.83, meaning I have to make over $47,000 the rest of the year, and I am just not really confident about making that happen, but that's fine. I don't feel a need to change this goal. I will keep it as it is, and maybe a miracle will happen by the end of the year and I'll be able to meet it. But for now, it's not like discouraging me or anything. But my next goal is to get my car fund up to $10,000. So this car fund is to buy a new car sometime in the future. I'm not planning on it. I just want money there when I do need it and want to replace my car. Part of it is also my deductible for my car insurance. And then this car fund also pays for any maintenance and repairs that come up, which obviously came up in March. So that put me behind a little bit on this goal, and now I'm trying to catch up. So if you missed my previous video, I explained why I was moving $200 from my emergency fund into this car fund. Basically, long story short, it's all the same to me. General income replacement fund, emergency fund, car fund. If an emergency comes up that's not car related, I will just take from this fund if I need to. I had no problem shuffling some money around. That gave me a little bit extra to put towards this month. Just baseline, I'm putting $150 towards this fund every month, but since I'm a little bit behind, I will be bumping this up moving forward, which I will cover in my July budget. And then, like I said, I put $200 extra from my emergency fund into this fund to get to that total of $350. I'm now at $8,500 in this fund with $1,500 left to go. So I think I should be able to hit this one at the end of the year. Moving forward, I'm going to be budgeting $200 a month towards this, and I will be behind by the time we get to December. I'll need like an extra $300, and I'm hoping that with my extra paychecks that I'll be getting in September and December, those are both 5 paycheck months for me, I can find some extra money to boost this goal again. But so far we are on a good track. Moving on to my next goal, which is to invest $45,000 this year. Again, not looking super realistic since I did not get the raise that I was hoping for. I was really banking on that to be able to hit this goal. Again, I'm just gonna leave this goal as is, and hopefully like a miracle can happen. Hopefully it manifests some extra income throughout the year for me. For now, in the month of June, I contributed $3,122 towards my investments. So this year I've invested a total of $23,859. I have a little over $21,000 left to hit this goal, which sounds really good. I'm over halfway towards this goal and we're only halfway through the year. But a big reason for that was I was saving money from 2024 to max out my Roth IRA immediately in January. So January was a huge head start for me. And as these months go on, I am anticipating that I'm going to fall below what I need for this goal, but not going to let it discourage me. Like I said, anything can happen between now and the end of the year. My next goal is to have $200,000 invested, and this goal does not include what I have invested in my crypto. That is just personal preference because this investment number is what I use towards retirement calculations to make sure that I'm on track, and I just personally don't like to include crypto in those calculations just because it could go to zero tomorrow and I just don't want to bank on it being there for me in 30-ish years. So in the month of June, my accounts went up by a total of $10,430.64. So this is including my deposits and any market gains, and the market was extremely nice to us in June. So that definitely bumped this goal up. So total in my investing accounts, excluding crypto, like I said, I have a total of $169,763.99. So close to $170,000. I have a little over $30,000 to go, which could be possible if I do manage to invest another $20,000 and the market is extremely nice the rest of the year. Maybe, but yeah, this one might not happen. I'm hoping that it can happen by like mid next year at the latest, but the past 2 months have been really good, so I don't know that it's realistic for it to be this good the rest of the year, but we'll see. Anything can happen. And then my last goal for 2025 is to hit CoastFI for the age of 67. So I actually redid this goal a little bit. It was tracking what my CoastFI number was and how close I was to hitting that CoastFI number, but instead I thought it would be a little bit more interesting to see what I would be able to withdraw at 67 given where my investments are today. I hope that makes sense. I'm so bad at explaining this, but like I said, my goal is to be able to withdraw $60,000 at the age of 67. I started this year with being able to withdraw about $46,000 at the age of 67, and that was based on where my investments were on December 31st, 2024. Then each month, this is taking in however much I invested and what the market growth was. It's taking that into account and then recalculating at the age that I was at the end of January, how much I would be able to withdraw at the age of 67. So as you can see, it went up a little bit in February when the market went up a little bit. Then the market went down in March. My CoastFI withdrawal amount at 67 went down a little bit. And then the past couple of months have been pretty good. So my CoastFI number has been going up. I am going to be a little bit closer to that $60,000 that I would like to hit. With all that being said, in the month of June, my CoastFI amount that I would be able to withdraw if my investments, if my $169,000 grows till retirement age with no further contributions, as of today, I would be able to withdraw $58,342.86 annually. And that's based on a 4% withdrawal rate. And I just want to show you really quickly how this number gets affected by how much is invested. So let's say I invested $5,000 more in June. So let's change this number to 15,000. Then you'll see my CoastFI number is almost at that $60,000. So really, I'm not too far off. The CoastFI number that I need to have in my accounts is going to change on a monthly basis as I get older. So it's kind of a moving target, but I am pretty confident that as long as the market isn't too mean to me, that I should be able to hit this goal, and that would just be really cool. So that's it for my financial goals. Let's hop over to my net worth tracker. Here we are in my net worth tracker. I'm just going to run through these numbers relatively quickly. So for cash, this is everything that I had at the end of June in my checking accounts, my savings accounts, and literal cash in my wallet. That all came out to $26,222.37. My solo 401k, this is my main investment vehicle that I am investing in currently until I max out the employee side. So this grew grew quite a bit in June with my contributions and market growth. That sits at a current balance of $43,290.09. So very exciting to cross the $40,000 mark. My SEP IRA, I'm not currently contributing to, and eventually I will roll this into my solo 401k. For now, this crossed over the $30,000 mark. It is at $30,446.17, which we love to see. My Roth IRA, I already maxed this out in January, so this has just been sitting since the beginning of the year, but it did go up a little bit in June with the market, and it's currently sitting at $57,217.42. My HSA, I am unfortunately unable to contribute to this year, so this is just sitting and growing as well. It went up to $10,646.56. Then my two taxable brokerages together are sitting at a total of $28,163.75. And finally, my crypto grew a little bit to $22,425.47. This is mostly Bitcoin, a little bit of Ethereum, and a couple of meme coins that I am not investing in anymore. I'm just letting this sit and grow and just kind of seeing what crypto does over the years. So I ended June with a total in assets of $218,411.83. Then for liabilities, my first liability is my credit card balances. I do pay my credit cards in full every month. So this is just what was left on my statement balances as we rolled into June. So that came out to $2,807.44. And then my tax savings, I just prefer not to count these in my net worth to try to avoid my net worth going down drastically every quarter when I make my quarterly tax payment. Just personal preference. So in my tax savings, that went down to $556 because like I said, I did make that second quarter payment. My total liabilities came out to $3,363.44, bringing my net worth up to $215,048.39, which was over $11,000 of an increase from May, and May was a pretty big increase as well. That's when I hit the $200,000 mark, so this is just really fun to see. Also, someone brought up a really good point in my previous video when I was talking about hitting that $200,000 mark, and the markets did really well in May for that to happen. They also did really well in June for this increase to happen. And I do want to point out this comment. So basically they were saying it would probably be more beneficial to have a mindset of wanting the markets to go down so that stocks are cheaper, and I'm effectively buying stocks on sale and making more money in the long run, and not focusing so much on seeing my net worth go up right now, because it would actually be a lot better for markets to go down now while I'm young and buying in lower, and then I would see so much more growth in later years. And I totally agree with that. My mindset changes based on how the market is doing. So when the market is up, I do get a little bit bummed, like, oh no, I missed out on cheaper stocks a day ago. Now they're up and I'm buying them for more expensive. But the upside is having a shiny new net worth number to look at. But most of the time, I do look forward to those dips in the market. And I'm not that old to have experienced like an actual huge dip in the market, but I am a long-term investor. What the market does on a day-to-day, week-to-week, year-to-year basis doesn't really affect me. I'm going to be still investing either way. I don't time the market. I just invest as much as I can on a weekly basis. So while this shiny new net worth is super fun to see, I also wouldn't mind if the market dropped back down and I went back down under $200,000 $100,000 if that means that my net worth is going to skyrocket even more in the future. It's all trade-offs, but just wanted to call that out. So that's everything that happened in the month of June. Let's hop back over to YNAB and I will create my July budget. So here we are in YNAB in my budget for July. This month is going to be a little bit different because first of all, I have some targets that I need to change. And like I've been saying for my past several videos, July is going to be extremely travel heavy. My boyfriend Tyler and I are basically going to be gone for the equivalent of 3 weeks out of the month. So a lot of the money that we would normally use for things like groceries or dining out while we're here will be used to fund our travel instead. So I will be explaining that as I fund each of my categories. I also have a note up here that we will start getting charged for Wi-Fi in the month of August. When we moved into this townhouse, we had a 6-month credit towards our Wi-Fi, which is a total of $60 a month. And then my boyfriend and I each pay $30. So this month I wanted to adjust some of my targets to accommodate that $30 increase in my expenses because I do a zero-based budget. So every dollar that comes into me gets assigned a job. I don't have any sort of buffer. So any increases in categories that I need to make needs to come from other categories. I need to take money from those targets to bring my overall targets equal to what I make in a normal month, which is $6,200 from my contractor income. I also receive extra income, which you can see some in my ready to assign up here. This is interest that was paid out on the 1st of July in one of my high yield savings accounts. So I only budget my life based on my contractor income because that is the most stable and expected income that I get. I also have side sources of income, which you saw in the previous section when I went over my income for the month of June. All of that this year is being put towards investments. So I am actually going to just throw that 6866 into investing and get that out of the way. And then we can move my next month fund up to ready to assign. I'm a month ahead in YNAB. So this $3,100 is what I need to fund the things that I need to pay for in the current month. And this money came from my income in June. And then throughout this month, as I get paid, I will refund this category back up to $3,100 so that come August 1st, I can do the exact same thing as I'm doing now, funding the whole month on the 1st of the month, which feels very good. Highly recommend if you are able to get a month ahead in your finances. These first two categories are things that I budget as my paychecks roll in the current month. This is investing and taxes. I just prefer to take those things out from each paycheck versus funding them a month ahead. It just makes the most sense for me, so I skip those. We can go down to my food and drink. So alcohol, I normally budget $50, but I'm going to use half of this towards travel this month. So we're just going to fund up to $25 and snooze this target. Dining out, I normally fund $225. Let's do $75 for now. That should be good for the week or so that we're going to be here. And then we can snooze this target for the month. Groceries, I normally budget $300 for the month. I think for the week or so that we're here, we can definitely get by with $100, probably even less, but I'm just going to play it safe so we can stock up on some things, have some meat in the freezer for when we do come back in August, and then we don't have to rush to the grocery store, because that's always the worst thing, is having things that you need to do right away when you come back from a vacation. It's nice to just kind of settle back in slowly, so that should be good there, and we can snooze this target. Supplements is one of the categories that I'm going to change the target, so I'm actually going to lower this to $25. I haven't been spending as much in this category this year, so I'm a power lifter, and this category was used to buy protein powder and creatine powder, and then like a multivitamin and my vitamin D and my melatonin that I just bought, but I have not been buying buying protein powder. I don't think I've bought protein powder this year and probably since last summer. So I just don't need as much in this category. Same thing with creatine. I'm just not doing it as seriously right now. I'm not taking it every day. Honestly, I've just been kind of taking a step back from powerlifting. I did a meet a year ago, and ever since then, I've just been cool with just kind of showing up to the gym and doing what feels good and not necessarily pushing myself to my limits. So I just haven't felt the need to really be spot on with my protein or my creatine intake. All that to say, I am lowering this to $25 a month, and we will go ahead and fund that. Decor and fixtures, I am going to lower this to $35 a month because we are slowing down on those purchases, and I just don't feel the need to save that aggressively towards it anymore. So we'll go ahead and fund that $35. Gifts and good vibes, I definitely need to bump up. So this category is for any kind of gift. It's for birthdays, anniversaries, Father's Day, Mother's Day, wedding gifts, Christmas. So the fact that I only have $125 in here, and this also includes my Christmas fund, is a little nerve-wracking. So for now, I will be increasing this to $100 a month to set aside, and I will go ahead and fund that. So moving forward, I will be saving $100 towards gifts, and then in the months that I get extra paychecks, I get paid on a weekly basis. So usually 4 months out of the year, I get a fifth paycheck, which will be happening in September and December. So I can use part of those paychecks to bump this up as well, especially for Christmas. Household, this is for things like cleaners, toilet paper, paper towels. I also put like basic drugstore shampoo, soap, things like that aren't super luxury or anything, more kind of basic necessities. I put those in here. I am going to be lowering this to $45 moving forward, and we can fund that. Medical, this is just a savings category for if I need to go to urgent care, or I used it earlier this year to go to a dentist appointment because I found out that they no longer accept my insurance, so I had to pay out of pocket for that. So I'm just building this back up, but I don't really have a number that I need to build it up to, and I don't have any appointments in mind that I need it for the rest of the year. So I'm just going to lower this down to $15, and we can fund that. Personal care, this is for more luxury skincare items, or if I buy a more expensive shampoo or makeup goes in here, and haircuts. So that's at $25, and I'm keeping that at $25. We can go ahead and fund that. Seeing and doing is my entertainment category, so anything that you see and do. What we've been using this for lately is going bowling or playing pool, or if we go to Nashville and go bar hopping, which we are going to be doing this Friday for the 4th of July. I'm actually going to be lowering this target to $75 a month, which I'm fine with because this has been building up over the past couple of months, and I haven't really been spending out of it as much. So I think this should be totally fine the rest of the year. So we can go ahead and fund that. Stuff and things, this is for any physical object that I buy that doesn't fit into other categories. I am going to be lowering this by $5, and we'll do $35 a month. Save that and fund it. Therapy is going to stay the same. It's $165 a session, but I will not be going to therapy this month since we are going to be out of town most of the month. So my next therapy session isn't until August, which means I get to snooze this target and use that $165 towards travel, which we will skip that until the very end. Zeke the Freak, I basically want all of these categories to equal $100 a month that I am putting towards him. So I'm going to keep vet at $25. We'll go ahead and fund that. Grooming, I need to fund this $63 every month because he is getting groomed on a monthly basis. His next appointment isn't until August, so I won't need this $63 this month. I'm still gonna fund it, and if I need to use it for travel money, I can, or I can just let it sit there and have $63 extra to budget with in August. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I will just take that $63 and use it towards travel this month, or at least put it in my travel fund, and if I don't spend it, I can decide what to do with it later. Probably just keep it in my travel fund since this cost is built into my monthly budget, and that works for me. I definitely need to build my travel fund back up, so we can go ahead and snooze that. Food and supplies, I need to bring this down to $12 a month, and then that gets all of these targets to $100 between food, grooming, and vet. I don't currently fund training. This will just be a category that I put extra money in the future, but it's just not a priority that we have to pay for right now. Moving on to my fixed and recurring expenses. My rent is just saying that it's overspent because I didn't have my money already budgeted in here, and I have a scheduled transaction on the first of every month for rent, and then I also have one for my phone bill that I automatically Venmo my mom on the first of every month. So those just always say that they're overspent on the first because I don't have money in that category yet. So we'll go ahead and throw rent in there. Also, this target I will need to change in August to 1,074, which I will put a note for myself to remember that in August. With how I am updating my targets right now, it is accounting for that extra $30. So I have been lowering most of these targets that I'm changing. This month, that extra $30 will just be put towards travel since I don't need it for internet this month. But then starting next month, I will be able to increase that to 1,074 because I will have that extra $30 from all of the target changes that I am making today. Electric and water, I am lowering this to 110. I've been averaging about 105, and I do have a little bit of a buffer in here as well, so I feel fine lowering that and just keeping that buffer just in case we have a really crazy electric month or something, and we can go ahead and fund that. Gym is always $15 a month. Health insurance, $62.65. That's the same. Phone bill, I already paid my mom today for $38. Fund that. Services and fees, this is mainly for my Chase Preferred annual fee, one of my credit cards, and then also $60 for my Costco renewal in August. It's also for, I have an annual fee for the gym that's like $39 in November, so this will cover that as well. This also covers like if I need to ship a package or something, just random things like that. So I will fund that $15, and then subscriptions will stay the same at $50. This is for my monthly and my yearly subscriptions. And actually, what is my next? So I need to have $110 in here for September Google storage, and that's another 5 paycheck month for me. So if I'm behind on this target, I can fund it with that extra paycheck. I'm just a little bit behind in this category. I think I didn't front load it enough when I lumped my annual subscriptions and monthly subscriptions into this category. In order to do that and not overspend, you need to kind of front load it a little bit to account for when your different annual expenses are charged, and I just didn't do a good job of that apparently, but that's fine. Car expenses, I will go ahead and fund gas for the month. That way I can fill up and not have to worry about it. I was planning on putting this in my travel fund for this month, but yeah, I think I'd feel more comfortable just saving it for gas while we are here and not traveling. Insurance and registration is staying the same, $75 a month that I put towards that. Maintenance, I don't fund. This is a tracking category. Whenever I have a repair or an oil change, things like that, I will move money from my car fund into this category and pay for it there. Then moving on to my banana stand adventures, this is my travel fund. This is going to stay at $100. We will go ahead and fund that. I'm also going to snooze this because I'm about to move this money to travel. Car fund, I am going to change this to $200 a month to get me closer to meeting my $10,000 goal for this fund. Save that and then fund it. Compassion, this is money that I'm saving for a yearly donation that I will be making most likely in December, when a lot of foundations will do really generous matching and you can get more for your money. So I am just lumping that all in here for now. That's staying at $100 a month, and then in December I will make a $1,200 donation. My sock fund is staying at $10 a month. It's not literally just for socks. This is just what I call my clothing fund, but I renamed it my sock fund because for some reason I am averse to buying socks and feeling like I'm wasting money on socks that just get holes in them in a couple of months. So one of these days, hopefully I will stop complaining and just buy some freaking socks and hope they last me a while, but until then, we'll keep funding it. And then tech replacement is going to stay at $10. This is a fund for, well, it was supposed to be for if my phone died and I needed to buy another one, or if I needed to replace my laptop or something. But this fund has been eaten away by the two $400 routers that I have bought for this apartment. Hopefully I get some good news about my warranty claim for the router that busted, and hopefully I can get that money put back into this fund. But for now, just building it up a little bit at a time. And then to accommodate for my car fund being upped by $50 in the target, I am just going to remove this target for my emergency fund because, like I said, it's all one big emergency fund to me. It's just what I am categorizing it as. So I am more than comfortable with $4,000 in my general emergency fund and then building up my car fund this year. And if an emergency happens that is not car related, then I have all of this money that I can use if the $4,000 is not enough. I feel like I missed something. Maybe not. Oh, I think it's the extra. I wasn't accounting for taking the grooming money. I was expecting like 500 something up here, but I have an extra $633. Normally, all of this money would be budgeted out. So actually, let's just double check my categories in August. So I'm going to select everything, unselect month ahead, investing, taxes, since I don't fund those a month ahead. And then you can see here my underfunded is basically $3,070. So that accounts for how much I'm going to have to increase my rent, which will be increased by $30 in August. So all of my targets are looking good. So we can flip back to today, and all of this $633.35 is going straight to travel. But that's not all. I am going to scroll down to my adventure fund, and I'm just going to move all of this to my travel fund because I have the tendency to not want to touch my savings, which is my banana stand. I have a tendency to try to work some magic in other categories before I touch my savings, but I just want to enjoy this month and spend as much as I want to while I'm traveling. And I think to ease my mind a little bit more, it would just be helpful to see it in my spending category all in one place. So as transactions come in, they will just be taken out of this category. I won't show overspent, hopefully, unless I spend over $2,000. But I'm pretty comfortable with that for the 3 weeks of traveling. Really, it's 2 weeks of traveling and then a long weekend that we are taking a road trip to another state and visiting family. We're really visiting family everywhere in 3 different states, but we're going to be doing a lot of grocery shopping while we're traveling. So that should keep our costs a little bit lower instead of going out to eat every day and really indulging. We will indulge a little bit, but this should be good. I feel comfortable with that. But yeah, that is it for my budget. I'm all budgeted out. I am so excited for this month. Thank you so much if you stuck around to the end of this video. I know that it was a really long one. I hope that you found it interesting or motivating. Let me know in the comments below what your financial goals for July are, or if you're doing any travel this month, I would love to hear it. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing if you like videos like this. I just really appreciate you watching, and I will catch you all in the next video. All right, bye guys.